Ever wonder where exactly that chicken you had for dinner came from?
Well, get ready for a wild ride.
Today's deep dive.
Yeah.
We're talking all things chicken,
All things chicken.
but like the global edition,
The
right?
global edition,
We're
exactly.
going deep into this USDA report,
Yeah.
a 2025 USDA report actually.
Okay.
And it's got some pretty interesting predictions.
Oh, it does. Yeah. It's like peering into the future of poultry. And let me tell you,
It's a wild ride.
some of these insights are pretty eye-opening, to say the least.
Okay, so first stop on this global chicken tour,
Okay.
Brazil.
All right, Brazil.
The report says they're going to be like the chicken export kings by 2025.
That's right. They're on track to be the top chicken exporter.
Wow.
And what's fascinating about Brazil is they're not just, raising chickens.
Right.
They've really strategically built their entire industry around supplying the world with chicken.
It's like they're playing chicken chess while everyone else is playing checkers.
Exactly. And this strategic approach, combined with, their relatively disease-free status.
Right. We've all heard those avian flu stories.
Exactly.
So that's got to be a factor.
Oh, absolutely. It gives them a major advantage in the global market.
So Brazil's out there building a chicken empire while other countries are, I don't know, just kind of pecking around.
It's a bold strategy for sure.
It seems to be working for them.
It really does. They've earned a reputation for being reliable, for being able to meet all sorts of different demands.
That's huge in the global market, right? Being able to like offer variety.
Absolutely. And that actually brings us to, well, a bit of a different story.
Oh, this is where the U.S. enters the picture, isn't it?
You got it.
And, well, from what I was reading, the report, it suggests things might be looking a little less sunny side up for the U.S. chicken scene.
Yeah, the report does predict that the U.S. share of the global chicken market,
It's going to shrink.
yeah, shrink is the right word, even though, and this is important, even though global demand for chicken is actually increasing.
Wait, so the demand is going up, but the U.S. share is shrinking.
That's what the report's saying.
Okay, now that's head-scratching. I got to know why.
So there are a few things at play here. The report talks about trade restrictions, some of them lingering from those past avian flu outbreaks we mentioned.
Yeah, even if things are better now, those past events, they kind of stick with you.
Exactly. It can be tough to shake that kind of reputation on the global stage.
It's like trying to convince everyone your restaurant's amazing even though it had a bad health inspection like 5 years ago.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the U.S. is facing some stiff competition.
Oh, yeah, we mentioned Brazil.
Brazil's a big one, but even
Yeah.
Thailand is becoming a major player in the chicken export game.
Interesting.
And then there's another factor, and this one's kind of a head scratcher.
Hit me with it.
The report, it highlights this statistic. It says that nearly 60%,
60%.
60% of U.S. chicken exports in 2023, they were leg quarters.
Leg quarters specifically.
Leg quarters. And a lot of them were bone in.
Huh. Any insight into why that is? Is that like a strategic move or?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Right.
It suggests that maybe, just maybe, the U.S. might be, I don't know, missing a trick.
Missing a trick? How so?
Well, the global market, it's all about variety these days, right? Different cultures, different preferences.
Makes sense.
By focusing so heavily on one specific type of cut, the U.S. might be limiting its appeal to a wider range of buyers.
So it's like they're showing up to a potluck with a big plate of chicken legs, but everyone else brought like a whole buffet.
You got it. And that could be a disadvantage in a market that's increasingly hungry for, well, options.
So maybe time for the U.S. to spice things up a bit, diversify that poultry portfolio.
Exactly. Now, while the U.S. is navigating all of that, there's another player we got to talk about, one that's staging a serious comeback.
Okay, let me guess. China.
You're good.
I did read the report.
They're on track to reclaim their spot as the top chicken producer, which is pretty remarkable.
Especially after those avian flu outbreaks they had to deal with.
It's a real testament to their ability to bounce back, but there's actually more to the story than just a simple rebound.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more. It really is kind of wild how quickly China's managed to get back in the poultry game.
It's impressive, for sure.
I mean, after those avian flu outbreaks, you'd think it'd take them a while to recover.
You'd think so, but this report suggests it's more than just a rebound. There's a really fascinating shift happening within China's chicken market itself.
Really? Okay, now I gotta know more. What kind of shift are we talking about?
It seems like Chinese consumers are developing a real taste for a specific kind of poultry.
Like a specific breed.
Yeah, we're talking white broiler chickens.
White broiler chickens, huh? Is that like a fancy chicken?
Not exactly. It's more about perception and economics, really.
Okay, how so?
It seems like white broiler meat, it's gaining popularity because it's seen as a healthier option and a
Interesting.
more affordable protein source,
Mhm.
especially when you compare it to other meats.
So it's like the chicken of the people.
Exactly. And this growing demand, it's actually reshaping their domestic chicken production.
Wow. So while other countries are focused on like ex exporting chicken to the world,
Right.
China's busy catering to their own, I don't know, evolving chicken palate.
You got it. It's like this whole other layer of the global chicken dance-off is happening within China's own borders.
I love that analogy. Okay, speaking of different dance moves, what's going on with the EU? They're dealing with their own set of challenges, according to this report.
Yeah, the EU's in an interesting position.
It's almost like they're doing this slow, cautious waltz while everyone else is like breakdancing across the global stage, right?
Yeah.
Those avian flu restrictions are still kind of holding them back.
That's a good way to put it. The report suggests that their chicken production will increase,
Okay.
but only slightly. They're still trying to shake off the after effects of those disease outbreaks and all the trade restrictions that followed.
Makes sense. It's got to be tough to rebuild those trade relationships after something like that.
It is, and it takes time.
So does that mean the EU is just going to like focus on their own backyard for now?
For the time being, it seems like their strategy is all about stability, focusing on their existing partnerships.
Keep it simple, right?
Exactly. The report mentions that they'll likely prioritize their current markets,
Which it makes total sense.
especially the UK, as those trade restrictions ease up.
Less risk that way.
Right. Now, speaking of expanding their reach, there's another player we haven't talked about much, but they've been quietly climbing the ranks in the global chicken export game.
Ooh, a dark horse. Who are we talking about?
Thailand.
Thailand. Okay, I'll admit, when I think Thai food, I think like amazing curries and noodles, not necessarily chicken.
Right. But they've got a secret weapon.
Oh, I'm listening. What's their secret?
It's cooked.
Cooked, as in like already cooked chicken.
You got it. The report highlights this surge in demand for their cooked chicken products.
Interesting. So we're talking like pre-cooked meals, marinated skewers, that kind of thing.
Exactly. They've tapped into this desire for convenience,
Who doesn't love convenience?
especially in today's busy world. But they haven't sacrificed flavor.
So they're offering the best of both worlds.
Exactly. And it's attracting attention from some major importers.
Okay, so who's loving Thailand's cooked chicken the most?
The report specifically mentioned the EU, Japan, and the UK.
Interesting. A pretty diverse group of eaters there.
It seems like they've really hit on something with this focus on convenience and flavor, catering to busy lifestyles and evolving tastes.
It really is amazing how all of this is playing out, you know. We've
Mhm.
got production trends, export strategies, consumer preferences.
It's a lot to keep track of.
It makes you realize that there's so much more to like a chicken dinner than meets the eye.
Absolutely. It's about more than just what ends up on our plates.
Right. It's connected to this whole web of global trade and economics and like the
Which seem
environment.
all intertwined.
Okay, so I'm ready to go deeper. Break it down for me. How do these poultry patterns we've been discussing, how do they affect the bigger picture? So it's like this whole global chicken dance floor, right? Everyone's got their own moves, their own
It's
strategies.
a pretty wild party.
But what does it all mean? Like for the average person, why should we care about these global chicken trends?
That's the key question, isn't it? Well, for starters, the rise of these chicken powerhouses we've been talking about.
Brazil, Thailand, that crew.
Exactly. It can actually be a good thing for your wallet.
Oh, tell me more about that.
Think about it. Their competitive pricing. That helps keep chicken affordable, even in countries that are importing it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And in a world where food security is a growing concern, affordable protein, that's a big deal.
Huge. Nobody wants to be priced out of a chicken dinner.
Exactly. But like with anything, there's always a flip side.
Right, can't be all sunshine and affordable chicken nuggets.
You got this global appetite for chicken. While positive in a lot of ways, it puts pressure on producers.
To like keep up with the demand.
Exactly. They've got to produce more chicken and they've got to do it efficiently, which brings us to another big piece of the puzzle, the environmental impact.
Right. We can't talk about food production without talking about sustainability these days.
Absolutely. And the report doesn't delve too deep into this specific aspect, but it's something to consider.
Like, what kind of environmental footprint does this global chicken dance leave behind?
Exactly. Intensifying production, raising more birds faster.
It's got to have consequences.
It does. Things like land use, water resources, Even greenhouse gas emissions, they all factor into the equation.
It's like that saying, right, when a butterfly flaps its wings. Or in this case, when a chicken crosses a border.
I like that. It's all connected.
It really is, and this report kind of opened my eyes to that, but there's another group we haven't talked about yet.
The farmers.
Yeah, the farmers, the ones actually raising these chickens.
Right. The report touched on some of the challenges they're facing.
And it sounds like it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Like what's good for consumers isn't always so great for producers.
You hit the nail on the head. Those cost-competitive methods that help keep prices down for consumers. Well, they can also squeeze profit margins for producers, especially in countries with higher labor and feed costs.
So it's a trade-off. Cheaper chicken for some might mean a tougher go for the ones who make it all happen.
Exactly. And that can create a real imbalance in the global market.
It's like we're all doing the chicken dance together, but some of us have way better shoes than others.
That's a great way to put it. And it highlights the importance of understanding these complexities because they have real-world consequences for real people.
It's a good reminder that even something as simple as, like, what we choose to eat for dinner, it's all part of this much bigger, more complicated story.
Absolutely. A story with global reach, economic implications, even ethical considerations. It's all intertwined.
Wow, so much to think about the next time I'm at the grocery store staring at a package of chicken breasts.
Right? It's not just chicken. It's a window into this whole complex system.
Well, on that note, I think we've covered a lot of ground today, from Brazil to Thailand, from consumer choices to environmental impacts.
It's been quite the journey.
It really has. And I, for one, am going to be looking at my chicken dinners in a whole new light from now on.
Me too.
Well, that's it for our deep dive into the fascinating world of poultry. Until next time, happy eating, everyone.